Welcome to week 7 of Think and Grow Rich, our 4th week of crystallizing your desire through action with Life Mastery Consultant Christi Corradi.
Hello and welcome. We are in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, week 4 of crystallizing your desire through organized planning, step 6 in the Think and Grow Rich book. This is the key to completing the circuitry. We can do all of the other work that we do, but if we don't have planning and take the steps that we have planned, then there is not a complete circuit. Just like with electricity, that means that we don't have light. So today, let's get started with our gratitudes and our proud of. And actually, my gratitude today, as we set the tone for creating that web of receptivity, is for light. Christmas lights in particular. Christmas lights bring me joy. They light up the dark, and they just seem so meaningful as to bringing our focus to a particular place. So I'm just grateful for Christmas lights. And then I'm proud of creating special time with my family, with my close, small little family, my husband and Aaron. So I'm just proud of setting our intentions and making it so meaningful. So I'm going to pause for a moment and hope that you write down your gratitudes and proud of. This is something I do on a daily basis, and this sets the tone for so many things, including abundance and receptivity. Something you're grateful for, something that you have accomplished that you're proud of. Okay, so let's get started. Step 6, crystallizing your desire through organized planning. I set this up kind of like a Christmas carol. The holiday season's around us, and many people celebrate many different traditions. But the whole idea of the Christmas carol and looking at our ghost of the past and our ghost of the future and our ghost of the present is really the work that we're going to do today and the content for this week 4 of organized planning. So we're going to start by visiting the past. So our past can run us, our past can create us, our past can make us, and it usually does, but that's by default because we don't have a conscious awareness that we have any other choice. Our past is our past, right? We can't change our past, but what we can change in this moment is how we engage with our past. And so in this moment, for this time, we actually want to take a kind glance back to our past, and we want to glean from it all of the things that are a high vibrational match of what it is that we want to create. So basically what I'm talking about is looking back at your successes. What have you accomplished? What are the successes? In this work, the thing that has helped me the most really understand where I'm at and what I'm thinking about is by using the concept of vibrational frequency, that we can have a low vibrational frequency, we can have a high vibrational frequency. And not to say that a low vibration frequency is bad. It can be calm and caring and et cetera. But actually what I'm talking about is positive and negative. So we're going to go right there to positive and negative vibrational frequency. And so we can look back at our past. And if we have any, this is a place where you can really fine-tune your relationship with your past, is what are my thoughts about the past? And what frequencies? Most of you have seen my image of the thermostat, my frequency thermostat. It's a picture of the old-fashioned thermostat, as my son said. He says, I've never actually seen one, the kind with a dial. And we have from 0, low frequency, to 100% high frequency. And you can use that little measurement of where am I at on the thermostat. Now, the reason that we don't use a thermometer is a thermometer actually is responding to its environment. But a thermostat is something that we can change and use, dial it up, if you will. So if you take a kind glance back at your history and you find any place that it might seem like it's running you or it's negative or anything, think about the frequency on this thermostat, what frequency it resonates at, maybe a 20% frequency or maybe a 10% frequency. Choose to turn the dial up. And I say I'm going to choose to have an 80% positive vibrational frequency as I look at this incident in my past. If so, what's the new thought? For example, the time that Jerry and I decided that we wanted to build a retreat facility to try it in Oregon, and we had found the perfect property and in a community that we liked, and Ann was going to this great little kind of integrative school. And we had secured a $1.2 million guaranteed loan from the federal government to build this. And we thought everything was going along perfectly. But we had to have a special use permit hearing. And as we did this, it was like going to a wedding where everybody's sitting on the groom's side and nobody's sitting on the bride's side. You know, they don't really do that anymore, but it's a great image. We were sitting on one side with our architect and a friend and Jerry and I, and everyone else was sitting on the other side opposing our project. Why? Well, a lot of rumors got out there, a lot of notions, a lot of misunderstandings, and a lot of NIMBY stuff going on, not in my backyard. They said we don't want them there, teenagers, we don't want, and this is out on 10 acres with backed up to forest land. It was actually for the good, but somehow it got out in the community that it wasn't. So our project failed, and we tried it several other times, and we failed. Well, I can choose at this point in time to look back at that in several ways. Well, the thought, the high frequency, 80, 90%, maybe even 100% frequency, vibrational frequency thought that I now have about that experience is that most likely I would not have come into this work at this deep of level with Mary and as a transformational life coach if I would have stayed there and become successful at that. And not that that was a bad thing or that wouldn't have been fulfilling, but I really do believe I have come around to my area of genius in this work that I'm doing. And I don't know that I would have gotten there or if it would have been at the depth that I'm at. So this is what you can do with your past is, first of all, you can change your vibrational frequency as you think about your past. Then the second thing that you can do, as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, is glean all of the successes. Now, success, when you take a look at successes, your accomplishments, that's like money in the bank. Because that in itself creates this is the person that I am. I am this successful person. And that is a vibrational frequency, a match. And so that's why, as I encouraged all of you to write your asset list or to expand on your asset list, for me, I know it's really helpful to have something to do with this work that I do. So please, you're welcome to send me your asset list. But you want to celebrate your successes. This is called success momentum. And the more successes that you create and look at and turn away from or recreate your vibrational match around your discontents or your failures. And this is how we change living with our past from a default setting to a empowerment setting or a by design setting. And remember, all of our thoughts make us. Like what you're looking at right now in the context of your life is the accumulation of and the outpicturing of all the thoughts that you have had up until now. We don't really even recognize what our limiting beliefs and what we've bought into around the status quo thinking and what we've let get in us. And that's actually why we do this work. You know, actually, when you set your vision, when you set the goodness for your life, when you align yourself with the universal force, then everything unlike that shows its face. And that's the good news, because that's when you get to heal those thoughts. And that's what we did this last month with the workbook for Think and Grow Rich, taking the 10 major causes of failure in leadership. And we turned that around and we took an inventory of ourselves. Is that showing up in my life? And our leadership was leadership over our own current life. And we used that to see where we might have some paradigms that we're not actually aware of. And then we looked at what we might do to, I call it remedy that, or to instill that. Let me take one of these and just, let's see. The inability to organize details. That's number one of the 10 major causes of failure in leadership. So it's an efficient leadership calls for the ability to organize and master details. No genuine leader is ever too busy to do anything which may be required of him in his capacity as a leader. So we're talking about leader of our own life, leader of our vision of creating and designing the life that we choose to live. Whether it's in our business, whether we are a leader or whether we are an employee or whatever career type places, we are the leader of our own life. Am I willing to continually do what I need to do to turn my attention to my vision and to be making steps in the direction of my dreams? There's a story about, I think it's Greek mythology, about somebody asking one of the masters, how do I climb Mount Olympus? And the response is that you make every step you take head in the direction of Mount Olympus, of the mountain. And that's what this is talking about and how we're using this work. So we're creating our own personal inventory, and it will help you discover where your limiting beliefs are. So it's a deep dive in that. I hope you've done that work and that you found it beneficial. Our emotions, our human emotions, are a real activator of our thoughts. So we have our thoughts, and they join with our emotion or our feelings, and that to the degree that things come out into results in the world. Our emotions can actually change human DNA. We talked about this last week, where they have discovered through quantum physics that the thought, the observer, actually affects the molecular structure, actually changes what we think of as invisible, but really is filled with all of these molecules. But what it takes is for us to learn the language of these invisible principles. And that's what I do as a coach. That's what coaching is. That is what transformational coaching is about, is helping you learn the universal principles and adapt them to any environment that you're in. So that's how we look at our past. Now, how we look towards our future, and I'm going to talk about this in relationship to where you're at right now. Being in the now, Eckhart Tolle wrote that great book, The Power of Now, and it's really important. We don't want to live in our past. We just want to choose how we use the past in our current moment. We don't live in the future, but we use the future as choice of where we stand in the current moment. So what we do is look at our vision. It's like, well, 3 years, 5 years, why do I want to look out in the future? It's as if you're standing in a room and you're taking a scan around the whole room, and you get to choose in the room what you're going to focus on, what direction you're going to move on. So, for example, right now I'm sitting at my desk, and that is part of my vision, is that I am a transformational life coach, and that I assist people on creating a life that they love living. So my focus in the room right now is my desk, my books, the information, everything that I have to share with you. Now, if I don't have a vision or a direction, I don't know where to turn to. And in this moment, I could turn and look at the messy closet over there that always needs cleaning up. So this is what our vision and our future is about. Why we create that vision is so that it helps us stand in the moment facing in the direction. It's just like the flower. You know how the flower turns towards the sun? Especially lovely to watch sunflowers turn towards the sun as the sun navigates around. And that's what we want our vision to do, is to help guide us in the direction that we want to turn to. This also helps us move from, all of this work that we're in, helps us move from surface thinking into deep thinking. This is a Bob Proctor fact. I don't know where he gets his information, but knowing Bob Proctor, he's very methodical. I'm sure that there is some research behind this, and maybe it was for this continent, but I think it's for the world. But just the thought of what I'm going to say here really gives you a sense that only 1% of the population actually thinks in a vision-driven life versus a condition-based life. 99% of the people alive on our planet believe that they are at the effect of the conditions around them. And so you being in this work are a very unique 1% population of people that are doing this work. And we want to continue to take that deep dive and move from surface thoughts or condition-based thinking into deep thinking and expand on life at all levels. And we can do that by understanding the invisible principles. So there is the laws of Halliwell, working with the law, which we have explored here in the program. Just like as a coach that I help people understand the invisible or the universal principle, we need to understand the principles to move to the next level, to move to that deep thinking. We're always at the effect of the principles, but if we don't know how to use them, it's just like electricity. We don't know how to complete that circuit to have the law of electricity. And it comes back to, again, this little thermostat that I'm talking about really paying attention to every thought that you have, everything that comes into your mind or everything that comes out of your mouth, and ask yourself, what vibrational frequency is that thought? And is that a status quo belief? Is that something that's limiting me? You know, the law of attraction, when The Secret came out and really helped people understand this at a deeper level, it's like, yes, what you think is what is attracted to you. Remember we talked about the wind, that the wind doesn't blow, the wind pulls into that low pressure front. So our thoughts are basically that low pressure front, whatever that low pressure front is. Remember, I was telling you guys the story for a long time that it was the high pressure front that the wind came to, and then at one of these conferences that I was with at Marriott, she said, share your vision with those. And I stood up and I shared, my vision is to be the high pressure front that the wind comes into. And she goes, very nice vision, Christi, but can I point out that it's the low pressure front, not the high pressure front? And this made so much sense. The high pressure front was push, 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 bam, 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 do, do, do. And the low pressure front is to be. And so we do that by changing our thoughts, mixing it with our emotions, and being that vibrational frequency of the life we would like to create and design now, to have it now. That's why we act as if. We think about our 3-year vision and we say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am the woman who is, or the man who is. And we hold that vibrational frequency. And the idea is to be in that frequency more often. We call it being more awake and asleep less to that vibrational frequency. And so then everything must rush to that to allow it to become the truth. And if we move into that low vibrational frequency and things get difficult as they come towards us, all these old paradigms that keep us from experiencing that good. It's the way that we think. It's our view of ourselves. Create the life that you want to be in a vibrational frequency so that everything comes to you in that direction. And use your vision and this work to stand in the current moment now. Experience the glory in the moment. As you turn towards your vision, you say, I am the woman who is. I am the man who is. That is such a different feeling than if you turn towards the disappointment and the past. And so be conscious of what you're thinking. So a couple of pieces of homework. Send me the new flowing document of your vision and send me your assets. Now, the basic premise of this work, if you read through step 6 of Think and Grow Rich, is to have a plan and to put it into action. And you can do this around any one of the quadrants. You can do it around a special project. You can do it around your vision, your 3 or 5 year vision or 1 year vision. But somehow get in the practice of creating a plan. And that plan should include what are the steps that you're taking. And if nothing else, ask yourself every day, what is a step I can take in the direction of my dream, my vision? I do this in several arenas. I do this with the products that I'm working on. And it's a bigger term vision, but I have a short-term goal in the midst of that I'm working towards. And so every day I ask myself, what is something I can do? It's the weekend. What can I do today? And also then my husband and I have the larger vision, a financial goal that we've set for 1 year. And every day, that's a long ways away, but every day we choose at least one action step that we can take in the direction of that dream. And then, of course, there's my 3 to 5 year vision, and I ask myself every day. And a lot of times, these steps that I'm doing today for this one project is actually a step in the direction of my 3 to 5 year vision. But we have a measurement to see that we are headed in that direction. If any project that you're involved in actually takes you away from your vision, that's not it. So that's an indicator of that.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Here are 2 exclusive podcast listener offers. First, for a limited time, podcast listeners can work with Christi in person at a deep discount. Christi offers a unique coaching modality of her own creation that helps clients discover their own answers to where they're stuck and how to move forward. As one of her clients puts it, it always works. This transformative process is designed to help you identify blocks and create breakthroughs in your personal and professional life. As a thank you for listening to the podcast, you're eligible for a special discount. Normally $97 for a half-hour introductory session, podcast listeners get a $70 discount automatically applied if you use this link, masteringtheartoflife.com/podcast-IWD-offer. That's masteringtheartoflife.com/podcast-IWD-offer. And that link is in the podcast general description as well. Second, you can get the entire library of Mastering the Art of Life with PDF notes and worksheets for each lesson, plus bonuses at no cost at masteringtheartoflife.com/9-month opt-in, all one word, masteringtheartoflife.com/9-month opt-in. That link is also in the general podcast description.